You were telling about the Dust Bowl. I don't know if I'd ever heard that story before. How many times did you guys run into clouds like that, or have?
Several times.
Well, one that when we lived at Colby, one really bad one, but it lasted quite a while.
By quite a while, you mean what? More than a day?
Yeah.
And when I was a child, we were several.
Not always that bad, but that one day was the worst.
You were telling a story once, Mom, when they sent you home from school because of the...
Oh yes, there were several times we were sent home from school. And
I'll be back.
usually my dad tries to get up from his... he was on the west side of town, and we were on the east, and he would try to get home, and he would have rough times.
How far away from school did you live back then?
Just about 3.5, I suppose. That is what you call them?
3.5 blocks?
Yeah.
Well, I remember this one day at school, and I don't remember what grade I was in. It must have been secondary, first or second or something. But they had all the parents come and get the kids. Well, Dad come out of school and got us kids. Because you couldn't see, they afraid you get lost. And took us home. And your mother put sheets over the windows and towels under the doors, and it didn't do much good. The house still filled with dust.
How thick would it get?
Well, depends on how much they cleaned.
Well, you were saying you were telling the story about how you called Mom and told her that she was that there was a black cloud coming, and she was taking a bath at that time.
Yes.
I was out working, and I could see it coming, and I was trying to get home on my motor car, track car, before then. But I come in, and the wind switched, and it pushed my car backwards. I took the windshield off and slipped the clutch to get home. And I called Darlene, told her to close the windows.
I did. I ran through the house. I had to get out of the tub, and there I was with a towel around me as much as I could, and I went all through the house, shutting the windows.
With no air conditioning.
And
it left muddy footprints everywhere.
Yes. I had just got done that morning, and the next by 4 o'clock I had to redo it again.
This was when you were in Colby in the 50s. See, we all know about the Dust Bowl in the 30s, but I don't think a lot of people remember that you had that problem in the 50s too. How often did that happen in the plains of Kansas?
When it didn't rain for a long period, you always had it. And farmers, when the dust starts to blow, farmers would go out, and that's all wheat country at that time, and they'd chop their field, and that would keep the dust from growing. And if some farmer didn't chop his field, the law allowed the neighbor to go chop it for him and bill him for it, because once that dust started rolling, it's like sandpaper. One field started, the next one started too. And you didn't drive on a farmer's field when that was windy and it started that dust going, because it just one started the rest of it. But that one year it got so bad, there's a lot of buffalo grass out there along the right of way and stuff. It blowed the dirt away from the roots of that grass. And the clump of grass would be standing up, no dirt under it. But it was windy. Well, out there at Colby on the railroad, now we had these square battery tubs about as big as this table, and the dust cover set on there, and then the steel cover set on top. And the dust got in that battery tub underneath that cover. And you'd take a steel lid off and it covered the dust. And you had to shovel that dust off before you could open that wood lid, because big suction there. And even it would blow inside the signal with through the air vents. And so most of the maintainers got tape and closed up them air vents to keep the dirt out. Because it covered the relays in that case, just filled itself full of dust.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess.